According to Bob's clock, it's 8:30.
I think that's the world clock.
That's the correct clock.
What is the world clock on his iPad or his
Well,
computer?
see down in the lower right now, it's 8:31. We're a minute late. But
Oh, I can't see that yet.
okay.
And the Democrats.
I'm going to call us to order, please. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing afterwards for a moment of silence for Brian Metzger. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please keep Cindy and Brian's entire family in your thoughts and prayers as they move forward in the next weeks and days to come. I wanted to first of all welcome Councilman Ben Murray to our council. He's taking Alana Stonebreaker's balance of her position throughout this term, so we welcome you to the council.
Thank you.
First up is our auditor's financial report.
All right, the report is in the packet like normal. The first page of it is the financial statement. We began 2020 with a cash balance of $12,329,109 with projected miscellaneous revenue and property tax, and then deducting a little bit for what we think maybe be the tax cap levy. And our total available is $62,084,666. We deduct the encumbrances, the 2020 budget, the minimum balance, and add back in what we anticipate is unused budget. Our beginning net balance beginning of the year is $1,800,784 for the general fund. We had no appropriations in January. There were none requested for the month of February. So our total available is still that $1.8 million number. Move down into the next page of the report. It's the revenue report, or the revenue section. And of course, property taxes only come in twice a year, so the total taxes, that's going to be a lot lower until we get to June. Intergovernmental, one thing I wanted to mention, the 0291, and that is a state and local public safety, which most all of that is the Public Defender Commission. We did receive a check or a deposit from the state on January the 3rd in 2019. If you recall, we only had 3 of the quarterly reimbursements come to us, and so we may get 5 this year, or we may get 4, but anyway, so we have already received that. Moving down to the charges for services, the 0410. The county sheriff miscellaneous receipts, just want to mention now, most all of that is come from the Tippecanoe School Corporation for the resource officer position that they reimburse us for. Going down into other financial sources, 0761, our reimbursements, internal refunds, that $83,333.33. That is 1/12 of $1 million, so that is the money we moved from the health insurance fund to support the health insurance in the general fund. So we have only 4.1% of our revenue received, but that is always kind of deceptive with property tax being such a big chunk of that. We move down into the next section of the report, which are the fund balances. The general fund, again, you know, it does usually, most months it does spend more than it takes in, but we are at $10.5 million there in fund number 1,000. Fund number 1170, that is a newly created lit public safety fund. We've received our first payment from the state. Ours will be like $4 million for the year, so that is going to be $333,663.83 per month. That is for us to spend. That is our money, and we have no appropriations for that as at this point. Moving down, next one I want to mention is 2580 and 2581. Those are the court services funds, and for Ben's information, these were the court services. They do the drug and alcohol evaluations, and this was a fund that we had some real challenges as far as keeping any cash balance in there, and we made our way up to about $125,000 in the substance abuse fund, which is the one that's actively used. 2581 is no longer being used. Any collections we have are from delinquent collections. So at some point, when that just really fizzles out and no more receipts going into that, I think we can move that 16,000 up into the court services fund. 4710 is the county self-insurance fund. So that's the health insurance for the county employees. And we did pick up some balance there. 909,000 brought in, 740,000 paid out, and the 740 does include that 83,333 that was moved onto the general fund too. So we did have another good month as we're approaching $9 million there. And 7331 is, again, it's called lit public safety, and when the state distributes the lit public safety, we get all of the money, and then we distribute it to the cities and towns. And so that is an in and out fund. So we did receive $688,000, and we'll receive that each month in 2020. And then that is, our part was what we had up above, the 333, and then the other, almost half of it was distributed to the other cities and towns. I think that was the only ones that I had marked. If there's any questions?
Any questions for Bob?
Where does what we receive and keep appear?
1170. Fund
Thank you.
1170.
You pointed that out. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's
That is Tippecanoe County government.
only ours.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, anything else? If not, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Jennifer?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My report was in your packet as well. For the month of January, we had $173,795.07 in interest. And on this sheet, I did want to point out that we have totally removed the solid waste management district account from here. Even it was on the auditor's general ledger through January, but to keep it apples and apples for us, I've just wiped it clear. But the auditor's office is still the controller of that fund. It's just not on the county's books any longer. So I think Kaylee is going to be
And that was something
managing
the State Board of Accounts wanted it off of our books since they are their own entity.
Right. We originally set it up as its own bank account, but now it's just completely off the books. So that was about $354,000 that we transferred out. On the fund distribution sheet, I have a few things to point out there. As we set up our 2020 spreadsheet, we've been going through and kind of documenting where, either by statute, by ordinance, or by resolution, each of these funds states that they are to receive bank interest. A couple of these I removed because we no longer hold the money. So for example, 1124 Congressional School Principal, Bob transferred over to the state, and so we no longer have interest on that, so that fund is completely wiped clean. The Solid Waste Management District Fund is no longer on the distribution sheet. That was Fund 4930. But also we found that there wasn't anything in either a statute, resolution, or ordinance that said that the innkeeper's tax should be collecting bank interest or earning bank interest. So I've taken that one off for now. We can certainly have discussion about that as we go, or perhaps an ordinance could be drafted if anybody feels differently about that one. But we just didn't see anywhere where it said that it needed to keep or earn bank interest.
So this is just statutorily required? Is it?
Some of them are. A majority of them are by local ordinance or resolution.
Okay.
So in particular on the innkeepers, that amounted to about $9,000. And they still would keep any interest or penalties on delinquent payments. So we're not talking about, interest by ordinance that they might receive if a hotelier is late. but we're just talking about earning bank interest. I did check with 4 other counties, Allen, Grant, Hendricks, and Monroe, and they all treat it as a pass-through. So just like Bob was talking about the lit being a pass-through, it's an in and out fund, and that's how these other counties who collect innkeepers were treating it as well, so,
And that was 9,000 annually,
yes.
the interest?
Well, I mean, varying depending on
But,
the interest
yeah,
rate, but it
interest
was
estimate,
9,000
yeah.
last year. I believe that was all on that sheet. We're not done going through the list, so be prepared, but like I said, I wanted to start 2020 off with kind of keeping things clean and apples to apples, so. At 8.3% of the year, then we're at 6.7% collected for the general fund. My original estimate for the general fund interest was 1.2 million. Oh, and you would notice that the self-insurance fund interest was about $12,000, and that, by your resolution, is going to the general fund. So that was included as well. The very last page is just something that was presented to the Board of Finance last month. You know, as you see the fund balances, you know that we have more cash on hand, and so this just kind of charts the interest in relation to those balances. And then, because I keep track of it separately by bank account interest versus investment interest, you can also see the variance there and how that's increased over the past few years. I attribute the interest or the cash balance increases mostly to, obviously, we have fairgrounds bond proceeds, the self-insurance fund being very healthy, and I'm noticing that a lot of the cumulative funds where they had been lower a few years ago have now started to grow and balance. And then the very last page just shows where we're at with investments. And here, the main thing to point out is that a significant portion of ours are earning or will earn a rate of more than the 1.85 that we have in the bank. So as of right now, that's really hard to find anything that's more than our overnight rate, but we have locked in some good rates the past couple of years. Any questions about all of that?
Any questions from Jennifer?
I just think it's good that the review of statutes and local ordinances must be riveting. So, I think it's really good, though, that we're doing a review like that, and it sounds like getting things cleaned up will be beneficial in the long run, so thank you.
How do we acquire the money for the battleground fence? I mean, is that some type of a fund they keep building, or?
Well, and Alan
just left.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
That was a one-time distribution
Yeah,
many years ago. I don't remember what that came from.
From the
but
state, I believe.
the only revenue we get is interest.
It's actually a
Say it's
constitutional
been
provision
repaired.
for the state to maintain the fence at Battleground.
And that's where the money had come from, I
repaired,
believe.
so.
Okay.
That was years ago when I was on.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Do we have any public comment concerning any agenda items we have before us this morning? If not, we have a consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed, or I'll take a motion to approve as presented?
I do have one question about the consent agenda. I know last year we decided that some of the grants we were going to move into the consent agenda. Can you remind me what were the criteria that they were in the consent agenda versus we individually appropriate them?
Yeah, what the State Board of Accounts told us is that if a grant comes with a budget, that does not need to be appropriated at all. And
Okay.
it's coming that way. When the commissioners, whoever, accept the grant, you're accepting that appropriation. We didn't want to just not put them on the agenda at all, so we thought that was kind of a compromise so that you would see them. But I guess if you want to not appropriate it, you could do that, but
No,
yeah, but that was kind of the reasoning when they
Trying to
said if it
remember.
comes with the budget already attached to the grant, it did not need appropriation.
Because we do have a very, like, the community corrections one is quite large.
Yes.
This month.
And yet we still put some of the salary ordinances or salary statements
Separate.
down as separate because that's not really part of that you do have to approve that, so we didn't
Okay.
want to throw that in the consent as well.
Okay, any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilman Winger, a second from Councilwoman Dolam to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent agenda is approved. First up, we have Circuit Court.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the grant appropriation for the Fund 9631 as presented.
Second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Winger, a second from Councilwoman Dolam to approve the Fund 9631 CF20 grant appropriation as presented. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the appropriation from the Drug Enforcement Fund 2507 as presented.
I second that.
Okay, I've got a motion on the floor from Councilman Winger, a second from Councilwoman Dolam to approve the Drug Enforcement Fund 2507 appropriation as presented. Discussion.
I would add just real quick, the court, Pat and Kathy both apologize they couldn't be here, but this, I'm sorry. It was the other grant that they give us further information on. All of this will be spent inside the boundaries of the grant, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is passed. Salary statement for the prosecutor for that
And
same
Mr.
fund.
Chair, move approval of the salary statement for the prosecutor, legal assistant, comment 4 as presented. Second?
Oh, I second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Winger, a second from Councilwoman Dolam to approve the salary statement for the prosecutor for the legal assistant comment 4. Discussion.
Yeah, so Pat's working within the budget that we had. We did discuss this a little bit. They are eliminating a paralegal position for now to establish this higher level legal assistant. We'll likely be readdressing this question as we go into the 2021 budget.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is approved. Next up, the Prosecutor Fund 8198.
Move approval of the Fund 8198 grant appropriation as presented.
I second.
Got a motion on the floor for the Prosecutors Fund 8198 FF18 grant appropriation as presented from Councilman Winger, a second from Councilwoman Dolam. Discussion.
This is the one that Kathy gave us some more insight on in further detail than what you see in the sheet there, but the travel and training is for mobile forensics training, and then the 2,000 for miscellaneous equipment will be replacing hard drives and purchase of software cables and adapters.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is approved. CASA.
I'll make a motion to approve the GAL/CASA Fund 9532 CF20 grant appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor for CASA Fund 9532 CF20 from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham in the amount stated.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, Mr. Murphy, to the council. This is a continuation of, it provides portions of a salary for one of our staff advocates, which is an individual that's on our staff that carries a caseload advocating for children with that are in the system. It's part of our continued efforts to build capacity within our program, in addition to the partnership with our state organization.
Okay, any other questions for Colleen? Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you. I've got some for the Sheriff's Department, Fund 1101.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Accident Report Fund 1101 appropriation as presented.
Second.
I've got a motion from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the Accident Report Fund 1101 in the amounts presented. Anyone from the Sheriff's Department want to discuss, or do we need any additional help on this? Captain Ricks? Yeah. Are you a carrier of the disease from the Sheriff's Department?
I have this paper with the sheriff, put some notes on here, and I have Melissa here. If you have any questions for anything, I guess. This money here that we just talked about is for, we use for training for accident reconstructionists in our stop sticks, things like that, traffic related.
And this is basically just appropriating the cash that they've had in there. And we've talked about maybe throwing this in when we do budget hearings, so at least part of that appropriation of their cash at that time.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion is approved. Next one, Fund 1156.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Firearms Training Fund 1156 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the Firearms Training Fund 1156 in the amount stated.
That's money that we get from gun permits that we use for firearms, ammunition, targets, things related to firearm training.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is approved. Fund 2573.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Animal Control Fund 2573 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the Animal Control Fund 2573 in the amount stated.
This comes from citations that our animal control officer issues. It helps pay for low-cost spay and neuter that we pay for cats, and also training for our ACO.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion is approved. Fund 2574.
I'll make a motion that we approve the False Alarms Fund 2574 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the False Alarms Fund 2574 appropriation as presented.
This is money that we get from, we bill for alarm, for the alarms, but we actually have never really had to use that money. But we go ahead and appropriate it every year in case something comes up that we can use it for.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion is approved. Fund 2575.
I'll make a motion to approve the Continuing Education Fund 2575 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the Continuing Education Fund 2575 appropriation as presented.
And this is money we get from traffic tickets, and we use it for training.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion is approved. Fund 4009.
Make a motion to approve the Sheriff Sale Administration Fund 4009 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the Sheriff Sale Administration Fund 4009 appropriation as presented.
And the funds come from our sheriff's sales, and then we appropriate the money, and the money is used to pay SRI for doing the sheriff's sales.
Okay.
So your explanation is not exactly correct. It's not appropriation for firearms.
I thought we were on sheriff's sales.
Yeah, we're on
We
sheriff's
are.
sale.
I'm on sheriff sales, but the explanation request, it says annual appropriation for firearms.
Oh, you're talking about on that sheet, yes.
Right.
Then that is not.
That is not correct.
That is not
Okay,
correct.
just to make sure, okay.
You need to fix that and send you.
No.
So this 50 would be this year's costs for SRI to do the sheriff's sales?
That's just what's in the account, that's what I appropriated. The monthly fee is usually somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000.
So you pay it monthly?
Yes.
Yeah, in noticing that there's 168,000, it looks like balance in that fund. Does this fund get spent on anything else, or has it been in recent years? Okay,
Not that I'm aware of. The only
Okay.
thing I've ever used it for was to pay the SRI.
thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion is approved. Fund 4012.
I'll make a motion to approve the Canine Support Fund 4012 appropriation as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor for the K-9, or from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Basham to
Yeah.
approve the appropriation for the K-9 Support Fund 4012. Discussion.
This is from donations that we get, and also from, we have, one of our K-9 officers is a trainer who trains other K-9 handlers, and then we use that for vet care, dog food, et cetera, for our K-9s.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion is approved. Salary statement. This is for community corrections. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we approve the Community Corrections 9219 CFY 2020, and the budget is listed in the above consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Murray to approve the salary statement for Community Corrections 9219 CFY 2020 in the budget that's listed above in our consent agenda. Welcome, Jason. Any questions for Jason regarding the
So these are
budget?
partial salaries for the year that are going to be paid out of this grant. Can you just explain a little bit how this relates to the salaries, the annual salaries? Like,
So this is, so from the Department of Corrections, we received that $979,000. It's broken down into that, the grant pays for 27% of the salaries. User fees make up the remaining balance of that.
so the grant pays 27, this is the 27% that the grant
Correct.
doesn't pay. So this is our share of the salary that we're paying.
That's
No,
correct.
this is the grant.
This is the grant.
We
This is
pay
the grant.
We pay the 77%
Okay.
out of user fees.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's all, thanks.
Okay,
That's, I want to make sure I understood that right.
okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Health Department, we have a Fund 4206.
I'll make a motion that we approve the LHT Carryover Fund 4206 grant appropriation as presented.
I'll second that.
Any questions about it?
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
We've got a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Murray to approve the LHT Carryover Fund 4206 grant appropriation as presented. Now,
Okay, so it's for the mobile unit, the health department's mobile unit. It allows us to do nursing division care out in the public. So we believe that we should go to them, and they're not always going to come to us. So this allows us, it has a bathroom on it, so we'll be able to do STD testing. It has a fridge, we'll be able to do immunizations on it.
okay. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you. Highway Fund
President, I would
1229.
move that we accept the appropriations of Lowett Fund 1229 for $59,000, which will leave a balance in the account of $337.65.
Second.
Okay, just a second, Stu.
You're going to have to come back again.
I've got a motion on the floor from Councilman Basham, a second from Councilwoman Vernon for the Lowett Fund 1229 appropriation as presented.
Aye.
Aye.
This is a fixed fund that was some kind of mistake, state taxing years ago, and we keep appropriating it. It has no real income, it just apparently creeps up, and we keep missing little bits of it. So when I hit this 59,000, and I was gonna say, I won't bother with you again, but I'll be back to 300.
But Jennifer gave it some interest, so.
At some point, we'll get rid of this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Stu.
That's for closing my bridge down.
Yeah. Committee departmental
Get to work.
reports.
Sheriff Commissary report is
Yeah,
not
we have-
here, so.
Do we want to
maybe
talk
next.
about, we're not going to do assignments till in a moment, right?
Whenever.
We have a sheriff's commissary report.
And did we send that out? I wonder, did we send that out, Michelle? The commissary report was not in the packet. If we did not send that out, we can maybe wait till next month, and I'm not sure you have to
Okay.
take any action on this. We need to present, the commissary is what the sheriff collects down at the jail, and they are to give a report to the council twice a year. And I'm not sure we ever got this sent out, but you don't have to take action, I don't think, but that was my fault for not getting it sent out to you prior to this meeting. That's why it was on the agenda.
Okay.
And maybe the sheriff will be better by then. Well,
Yes, hopefully. Be over the flu by that time. Okay. Any other committee or departmental reports?
It doesn't have the whole commissary report in it, does it? All like 40, 50 pages of it? Oh. The whole thing?
it could be the email version.
Oh.
In the
Oh, okay, it was in the electronic, but not
Electronic,
the print.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's because I'm not looking at the electronic right now.
I didn't see it.
Is it in yours, Roland?
Yeah, electronic.
It's in the e-packet.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on. We've got an election of council vice president.
Yeah, so just to explain, Bob had asked me, we've traditionally used Robert's Rules of Order, and by that, Councilman Underwood automatically became president. And so now that leaves a vacancy in the position of council vice president. So I guess it'd be appropriate to take nominations for vice president, or, I mean, I don't know, I think we put it on the agenda. I don't know if you're prepared for that today, but you could go a meeting without if you wanted to dwell on it. Either one would be in
The
order.
council.
I don't know. I was president for 3 years and vice president, but I mean, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter.
Do you want to discuss it for a month and
We
we'll
come back.
take care of
Good
it?
idea.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
We don't need to affirm the presidency.
No, it's just by operation of the rules. That's automatic. You would have to take additional action to take it away from them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Do we need to actually table that, or do we just by
No,
consent?
it hasn't been moved yet, so it was on the agenda, but you haven't taken any action, so there's nothing to table right now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin, for stepping in.
The 2020 assignments and appointments for the council. We've got a new list. We met and filled in to at least get one name on every spot that was left vacant with, so we've got that filled in as best we could at this point. So we will definitely need to be filling in, especially as we get to a full number on the council here later on in the spring. So just so that everyone is aware, and if you've got any desire to maybe shuffle around a little bit, please let me know and we will make those accommodations. We do have some, also on the appointments page, we have some spots that are vacant as well that we will need to have assignments for, specifically the Lafayette Economic Development Commission, Tippecanoe County Redevelopment Commission, and oops, and I missed the Do It Advisory Board. So
On
if
the,
you-
on the
yeah.
committee or the department assignments, are we still shooting to keep these lumped in associated categories?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. As much as possible.
But we didn't really want to put the two new council people by
Understood.
themselves.
Understood.
So we did, I think we called Kathy, and I know I talked to Ben, and I think we might have put him in some spots that we didn't mention to him, but we can, but.
So there's obviously quite a few others that still have spots available that we'll need to shuffle around on.
Yeah.
The first grouping of categories you can kind of tell are a little bit more diverse in terms of what they cover, and so we tried to get the ones that were most similar with at least some cross working of the council reps on those positions.
Yep.
So it's a process then, if I have an interest in some of these vacancies, just to get a hold of you and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so please do. Okay.
Looks like you're stuck.
We will continue to work on that as we move on in the next month or two. Commissioner FYI. Tracy Brown.
I don't learn everything from, I'm learning so much from you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just want to let you know a couple of things. One, Mr. Berthold, I met with sheriff's staff last week. You may recall for the DLZ study, there was a laundry list of items that need some immediate attention in terms of maintenance and some long-range planning as well. We came up with a list of 70 items and worked through with staff on getting those assigned by priority. So next step for us as we start getting quotes for that is to come up with an exact cost of what some of those projects are so that we can sort of put those in our capital projects plan in the coming months. Also, bids are out for the next phase of the Fairgrounds project and the building at the old YMCA on South 18th Street, and those come back, I think at our next, we'll be opening those, receiving those at our next meeting on the 18th of February. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Public comment.
It's three, yeah.
Draw straws.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tisha Lee. I represent the Tippecanoe Arts Federation. I wanted to give an update on the investment that the county has given to support the arts and quality of life over the last several years. First off, we have celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the implementation of the Community Cultural Plan. It has brought national attention to our state and our little part of our state. We are the first state-designated Tippecanoe Arts and Cultural District, and that, along with the additional public art that we've added with your support, has helped us maintain our reputation in the state. We will be conducting a public art forum on March 2nd of this year. That invites not only the Tippecanoe County Public Art Team that was appointed by the commissioners, but also the West Lafayette Public Art Team, the Lafayette Public Art Team, and the representatives from Purdue. I know Councilwoman Dullum as well as Commissioner Byers attended last year, and we invite all of you to attend that as well. It will be here. Finally, I'd like to say that the $1.5 million renovation project for the Wells Community Cultural Center was completed ahead of schedule. With your support, we were able to provide that amenity to the community at large. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dee Nicely, and I'm one of the youth educators here in Tippecanoe County. I've been asked this morning to remind you of the annual Extension Board dinner next Thursday evening, February 20th. We would love to have each of you there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Shannon Stannis, and I'm the Watershed Coordinator for the Wabash River Enhancement Corporation. Paula asked me to just give a quick update to you today because Tippecanoe County, y'all are a big supporter of our efforts to improve water quality in the Wabash. So I just wanted to give some highlights. As we just closed out, I'm going to round some of these numbers, but we just closed out a $300,000 grant, which funds come from the U.S. EPA, get administered to the state in Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and then appropriated to us. So that covered our education and outreach program for 2017 and 2018, and then our cost share program for 2017 through 2019. So a majority of these funds are for the cost share program. It's about $160,000 of that $300,000 grant, which helped farmers and city dwellers install practices that reduce pollution from reaching our waterways. So all in all, with those funds, and I can make a copy of this for everybody so you don't have to remember these numbers, but we funded 29 projects with 23 individuals, so some individuals did multiple projects. And again, rounding, these projects reduced over 7,000 pounds of nitrogen, 18,000 pounds of phosphorus, and 2,000 tons of sediment from reaching the Wabash River. So we're pretty happy about that. Project types included rain gardens, bioswales, and urban trees in our urban areas, and then cover crops, grass waterways, conservation cover, heavy use area protection, and a composting facility at the Master Gardeners community garden plots off of Sagamore Parkway and Elliott Ditch, if you're familiar with that. It's a project we're very excited about, and I hope you go check out if you have time. In our education programs for 2017 and 2018, we connected with over 170 people directly at workshops and our annual green tour, where we get to look at those practices that I mentioned. We had over 100 people participate in each of our Wabash Sampling Blitz events, which is where we sample for water quality, and Detrash the Wabash events, where we remove trash from the banks. In 2019, quick highlight from this past year, we estimate that we had 15,000 people attend Wabash River Fest, which is really phenomenal. We had over 500 people participate in one of our on-water events, so that's either canoe racing, tri-canoe, the fishing derby. We're just very excited about how many people we got to actually go out onto the banks of the Wabash during that event. So thank you so much for that support. Moving forward for 2020, we have another open grant for our education and outreach program and the cost share program. So we have applications for that cost share program that are due March 15th. So we appreciate any help to spread the word as you talk to your constituents. If anyone wants to improve water quality at their home or at their farm, they can give us a call and we can make that happen. And I just want to say thank you again for your support and cooperation, and we look forward to another successful year engaging with the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi. So on March 19th at 10 a.m. in this room, we're doing our public Gateway to Hope numbers for 2019. But we'll also be showing our mobile unit. And so since there's press, and I've talked about it at every other meeting, we're the only county in the state that has a mobile unit like this. So this will be like the one time where people can take a tour of the mobile unit. So we're inviting you guys and anyone else to come see our mobile unit that we're very proud of. It's going to last for like 30 years.
Okay.
The 19th at 10 a.m.
I forgot I was supposed to give you an update on my position, on what the grants do for the county. I wanted to let you know that in 2019, I reported this to the commissioners, and I can give you the spreadsheet as well, too, if you'd like it. But in 2019, the county applied for at least 40 different grants, and we received 38 of those grants, so I think that's a pretty good shot of what's going on. And that was over $3 million in funding that came to it. I'd like to give you...
30 million? How much?
Over
40.
3 million.
3 million.
3 million.
So, and in the future, I'd like to give you an update on how many positions that brought to the county, because I think that's important for you as council members to understand that that funding comes from those grants, and it's not something that's coming out of our general funds. So, thank you.
Sharon,
Thank you.
Thank you.
any other public comment? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Kevin.
Where'd it go?
30 million.
I was